Saturday, December 16th, saw boxing deliver some action that was unexpected. And as a result of that unexpectancy, there is one fighter in particular where Jose Valenzuela had a victory over Chris Colbert. And by having that victory, he can hear the calls for future matches. And he has placed himself in a tremendous position, leaving no doubt with the outcome of Saturday's fight. Let's talk about the fight that Valenzuela had and what could be in the cards for him in the near future. Boxing is an interesting sport. We often see fighters perform and create circumstances that can be entertaining for us all, but yet and still, it could be a benchmark and a launch pad towards something great for themselves. Such was the case with Jose Valenzuela's performance Saturday, December 16th, from Minnesota on the undercard of Morel versus Agbeco. This fight ended with Valenzuela stopping Chris Colbert in a fight that saw these men challenging one another in a rematch. The type of rematch that should define a victor, seeing that the first fight was so close, but Colbert happened to escape with a unanimous decision victory. Many people felt that that should not have been the case. And that fight was fought earlier this year in March at the MGM Grand. Colbert came away from that fight boasting, "I love Vegas. I love Vegas." However, the fight was close, but many people came away with the sentiments that Valenzuela won this fight. And Valenzuela, who had Colbert on the canvas early in that fight, didn't get the credit that he should have gotten, because Colbert often shelled up, wouldn't let his hands go because he was concerned about what was the incoming. And so now, after this loss, his record has dropped to 17-2 with 6 KOs. Colbert might want to rethink things. During this fight, his corner was trying to give him instructions, and he was quite rebellious. He didn't want to listen to what his cornermen had to say, as if waving them off, saying, "Hey, I've got control of this." But really, did he have control? I think not. And Valenzuela took advantage as early as the first round of this fight, when he battered Colbert near the ropes. to the point where he sank against the ropes and the ref had to issue a standing 8 count, giving him a little extra time during the count and asking him if he was good. Is he sure? Does he remember where he lives? And all sorts of other questions before allowing the fight to resume. And so after that, Valenzuela continued to jump on top of him. Now Colbert, who was not offering up much offense for his own accord, you could see that he had some hesitancy there. And Valenzuela was able to stay on top of him. He was quite aggressive. After this fight, his record now is 13-2 with 9 KOs. And he fought very well. His 2 losses were back-to-back. Colbert, and prior to that, Edwin De Los Santos, who stopped him. But De Los Santos is a knockout puncher and could be forgiven because he fights in a way that is crowd-pleasing and exciting, and at sometimes even considered reckless. And Valenzuela was just not able to stand up to that. However, against Colbert, you would have thought he had watched tape on Edwin De Los Santos, because he came out and he was extremely aggressive. His southpaw position allowed him the opportunity to go after Colbert in a way that it was good to see him doing what he was doing. And I have to say that at the age of 24, the sky is the limit going forward for him. Colbert, who's an orthodox fighter, is 27. And though he's known to be able to put on the type of appearance that is kind of flamboyant and flashy, it's too bad it doesn't transmit into his style, because he needs more coaching up. And the fact that he was not listening to his corner on this evening, and he endured such a battering, going back to the drawing board is not the end all to what he needs. But he's going to have to make a decision about where he's going with the sport of boxing, because the way he performs presently, he's not up to dealing with the top names in the sport. And he's definitely not on the level with Rayo. Rayo performed in a way that allowed him to launch himself toward future considerations against the likes of Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Frank Martin, and others who are in that division where they can really put on quality fights. Colbert might even want to go back down to 130. And if he does do that, he'll have to look at the likes of other fighters that may really not be at his level but above. And even if that happens, he's going to have to get the work done in the gym. You can tell that this man hasn't really worked at his craft. And it's been a while since he's put on a performance that is admirable. He does have the talent to be a better fighter, but for him, it's all about the mental. And if he can't get that together, I don't see him advancing beyond where he is presently. Personally, I would like to see him grow by getting the work done in the gym. Maybe even changing where he trains. I don't necessarily think it's about the trainers, but it could definitely be about the decisions that he's making in the gym. He appears to try to be his own man, but he's not making the best of decisions. And when you see the talents like Rayo and what he was able to do against Colbert, you have to understand that Chris really needs a lot of work. I mean, he got hit clean in this fight. The knockout was very impressive as he took a leaping Superman punch from Rayo straight to the jaw, and he was out like a lamp. And I believe that that's something that's hard to overcome, to come back from. And when you look at guys like O'Shaquie Foster, who have a little bit more talent than Rayo has, at 130, that's going to be a tough matchup for him. I want to see some of these young fighters who are so brash and so into their appearances coming to the ring to drop all of that and get down to business, learning their craft, becoming better fighters. If they can't do that, their fate will be equal to what we saw in Chris Colbert on Saturday night. And that's nothing to be proud of, because if you're going to perform like that, you're going to see yourself on the losing end of things on a consistent basis. And that's not a pretty thing as well. But what do you think? I think that when you talk about Jose Valenzuela, he's the kind of fighter that he can get a pretty good payday in his next match, because he'll be called for as an opponent. And can't you hear the bells? I can, and he probably can as well. So he needs to be right there and ready to answer the call. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts were about this fight between Valenzuela and Chris Colbert, and what should be next for Valenzuela, and what do you think should be next for Chris Colbert? His future track, the light is dim. He needs to bring some more excitement back into his career and improve upon what he's been doing. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.